I don't think Esther had a choice whether she should become queen or not, but at the time she became queen, nobody knew about Haman's Gzeira, and nobody knew that she was going to help things out. So there's all these different things happening. We spoke about how Achashverosh, originally the capital was somewhere else, and he wanted to have a crown, he wanted to have a throne which was similar to Shlomo Melech's throne, and the people who built it happened to live in Shushan, and he was going to transport it, and in the end he couldn't transport it, so the whole capital got moved to Shushan. So at the time the capital got moved to Shushan, if you're elsewhere in the world, you're saying to yourself, hey, why did the capital get moved to Shushan? And then he makes a party, and then Vashti gets killed, and all of a sudden Vashti got killed, and now Esther's the queen. And this process took many years. This didn't take a short time. Esther had to sit for 6 months in the Mar and 6 months in the Besamim, right? Like this didn't happen. This is a long, drawn out process with all kinds of events coming into place that were interesting. Even Achashverosh becoming king himself was a shayla. He was Hamelech. He made himself a king. And he was not originally a king. So there's all funny things happening, coming into place, and this is what's called hidden miracles, where Hashem is maneuvering the chess pieces, putting them into place where He wants them, in order to set up the world for what He's planning on doing next. And that was what the Purim miracle was, and that's what we see in the miracle of Purim. And that's really the Yom Tov for Golus, right? It's the Yom Tov for our times now. It's the Yom Tov for Golus. Golus is the time where Hashem is Haster Aster, Anechi Haster Aster. It's hidden. We don't see Him. It's not clear. That's why Hashem's name is not in the Megillah, because everything was hidden miracles. It's all Hashem running the scenes. And by the way, it's a very comforting fact, because if you focus on it and you look what's going on in the world, it's unsettling. It's hard to live almost. It's like it's unsettling. Like, who are we next? What's happening? Like, what's happening next? Like, who knows what's going to happen next? It feels like you wake up and like maybe the nuclear plant's going to blow up, and maybe we're going to have a tsunami, and maybe like who knows what will happen. It's just the whole world feels like it's shaking, and you feel like you're not on solid ground. But then you think about the Purim story, and that gives you bitachon, because you say, don't worry, Hashem knows what He's doing. He's putting everything into place, and there's a plan here. And I may not know the plan, and I may not know what's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that Hashem doesn't have a plan. And that's what bitachon is. Bitachon is understanding that there's someone running the world, and that all the different things that are happening, and this is not on a macro level, on a micro level, in your own life as well. Not only in the whole world, but in your own life. Sometimes strange things could happen to us. We could lose our jobs, we could have a sickness, all kinds of things that could be going on in our own lives, and in the community, and on all the different levels in the world, there's things happening. And all those things happening, Purim story tells us and shows us to have bitachon and to believe that there's someone pulling the strings. And this is not all random, but there's a Anochi Haster Aster, there's a hidden hand guiding everything, and everything is for the good, everything is for the best. And when you think like this, you're able to deal with the different struggles that come up, and you're able to deal with the different challenges that happen to you, because it's comforting. It's a very comforting fact. So Purim is a comforting Yom Tov in that way. What? Yeah, that also comforts you. At least Shas Maisa, until you wake up.
Right.
Right? And anyone got drunk? When you get drunk, you drink a lot. When you drink a lot, B'Shas Maisa feels great, but afterwards, whew. Yeah?
How many good can get drunk from this?
No. There's an interesting Gemara. The Gemara is talking about Kiddush. So the Gemara says, a certain kind of wine that they used to drink, that they would pour water over dates, I think, or dried out raisins or something, 13 times, a certain thing, and then that wine tasted amazing. But the next morning, the person who made Kiddush on it woke up and it killed him. It hurt a lot. We had to go to the bathroom. So he said like this, I don't remember exact words, but he said something like this: at night it's sweet, it tastes great, and in the morning it comes back to haunt you, right? So the machlekes over there between Rashi and the Rashbam, what was he trying to say? Either he was trying to say you could make Kiddush on it. I'm sorry. Pashut Pshat, you would imagine, he's saying you can't make Kiddush on it because even though B'Shas Maisa it tastes so good, because later it comes back to haunt you, so it's not worth drinking, so it's not Chamar Medina, and therefore you can't make Kiddush on it. That's Pashut Pshat. But the other person learns Fakert. Since B'Shas Maisa it tastes so good, so the next morning, you worry about the next morning. The next morning, even if you know it's going to hurt you the next day, you'll still drink it. And what I'm trying to say is the same thing. People do things very often that they know are going to bother them the next day. Like getting drunk on Purim, for example, may bother you the next day. You do it anyways. Anyways, that's a side point. That is Purim. So Purim is the Yom Tov of the hidden miracle. Pesach is the exact opposite. Pesach is the Yom Tov of the open miracle. I'm going to pass out a very interesting Ramban. If anyone was here, I think last Sunday we went through this.
Not last Sunday.
2 Sundays ago.
You may not remember last Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Last Sunday was Purim. This Ramban is the last Ramban in Parshas Boi. And for those of you who heard it already, I don't feel bad, because it's worth hearing again. It's worth hearing lots of times. This Ramban you can learn over and over and over.
Absolutely.
Dovi Gopin loves this Ramban. He gives like a whole bunch of shiurim on this Ramban, but he gets into some of the more of the pratim. So Ramban says like this. If you take a look at
Rabbi.
yeah.
Over and over.
So if you look at the right side, Va'ata. I think it's the 4th paragraph in your version.
Yeah, that's what we learned the last time.
Va'ata now. I'll tell you a klal for the reason for many of the mitzvahs. Hine, me'es hayos avodah zarah ba'olam, from the time there was avodah zarah in the world, mimei enosh, from the days of enosh, hechelu adayas l'shtavish b'amuna. People would make mistakes in amuna. Mehem koyfer be'ikr, some of them would be koyfer be'ikr, and they would say that the world was here originally. Kachshu b'Hashem, they would deny Hashem. They would say there was no God. So that's the first level of kfira, is to say there's no God b'chlal. Some people would admit there's a God, but they would say that he doesn't know what's going on. How does Hashem know what's going on down here? So basically he created the world, he's up there, he has nothing to do with us anymore. Some people say he knows what's going on, but he doesn't get involved. And people are like fish, that they just do whatever they want. There's no reward or punishment. They say, Hashem left the world. So that's the 3 levels of kfira, the 3 levels of denial. When Hashem wants a group or an individual, and he wants to do with them a wonder by changing nature, changing the course of the regular course of the world. All he's got to do is one time change the nature, and that will clarify to everybody that all 3 of those levels of kfir are wrong. Because a clear and open miracle shows that there's a God. How else could nature change? And that he knows what's going on down here, and he's involved, and he's able to change things. So one open miracle wipes out everything. And if this moivus is preordained, is told over by Navi before, so he says tomorrow this is going to happen, it shows the nevuah is true. That Hashem could talk to man, and he reveals his secrets to his servants. And with this will uphold the entire Torah. So one open miracle by Hashem, which is preordained, is Makam the entire Torah. Agreed or disagreed? Better agree.
Absolutely.
Well, you have to know, though, that it's actually changing nature. You have to actually know that.
100%.
It's not always so clear.
It doesn't deal with the argument that
We're not discussing that issue at all. We're talking about an open, clear miracle. If it's not always so clear, then it's not an open and clear miracle.
But they always say, don't base your faith on miracles. So that's what they say about Pesah. Don't base your faith in Hashem on what happened in Egypt.
They do?
Yeah.
There is a truth to that. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I think there is a truth to that, but the Ramban's saying the opposite over here. Maybe
he's actually not. You're right.
There's no concept, like he says. That's a different concept.
No, Ein Samech Alanes means something totally different. Ein Samech Alanes means don't put yourself in a position where something
You rely that the nest will help.
I know it's not what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Ein Samech Alanes has nothing to do with anything. Ein Samech Alanes means don't put yourself in a position where you're going to need a miracle to save you, because you can't rely on miracles. What he's talking about, what you're talking about, I think, is the ice, is the signs. That Moshe Rabbeinu, when Hashem gave Moshe Rabbeinu the signs, so it says, the Rambam says that Emunah in Hashem should not be based on signs or moisim, and that's why I think it says about the giving of the Torah. I think there's a pasuk that says Mefurish, because Tavnos L'kim al Harzeh. You're talking about little signs, like signs, but
here there's a big difference because you're actually not using it to prove your faith. You're actually disproving Avodah Zarah. It's a slightly different thing. It sounds like it's the same, but it's a slightly different thing. Here the issue is, are these false beliefs true?
I'm not 100% sure if you're correct about
It's a
that.
lie.
I'm not 100% sure if you're correct about that distinction.
So like what Eliezer did, it says, if you will do with me that and that miracle, then I will know it's right.
That's in some Chalanes. That's a different sugya.
But you were saying that the entire Torah you would accept if there was one open miracle.
Yeah.
But why would you say that? Well, because the open miracle just proves the existence of God and God's involvement in the world. It doesn't mean that the Torah itself necessarily is true.
Well, because if there's an open miracle, which is preordained by Moshe Rabbeinu,
Okay, so but you're talking about one that's been preordained.
that's what the Ramban says. I read that. If it's preordained, Mepi Navi, it proves it. Now, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. You would have to see exactly what you're talking about. There's definitely some element of truth to what you're saying.
I'll bring you the CD.
No, there's definitely some element of truth to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what the Ramban is saying is like this: you can have an Amunah in Hashem. If Hashem would show you an open miracle, that would cause you to have true belief. Well, let me ask you a question. If Hashem would come to you and, without any shadow of a doubt, would come to you and say, "Hey, I exist. Steve, how you doing? I'm here, and I gave the Torah." No, seriously. Let's say he would say, not in those words, but let's say he would say it in more befitting words. Maybe I shouldn't talk like that.
This is a George Burns movie.
So, what? So then you believe it. So that's what's happening. That's what the Ramban's saying. In other words, you want to say that your belief shouldn't be whatever, but Lamaisa you believe.
It doesn't have to be Hashem himself. Like you see.
How do you know there's a Navi's good enough? How do you know Navi's true?
Eliyahu was standing on top of the mountain with the bow and the thing.
Very good, perfect.
So you see it. That's called an open miracle where he dove in and
Was that preordained?
No.
I don't recall.
Are you talking about the world, though, or are you talking about an individual?
What do you mean? Both.
Because the world could look at an open miracle and start coming up with reasons why that happened or why that happened.
Good. So if it's not 100% open and clear, that means if you could come up with some scientific logic to it, then obviously what you're disputing is not God. You're just disputing, and you're not disputing Hashem. You're just saying that. How do I know it's an open miracle? We're talking about an open miracle beyond any shadow of doubt.
People have come up with theories why the sea split. It was windy and it was this and
That's what the Chumash says.
Yeah, okay, no, I understand.
That's what the Torah says. It was windy.
Yeah, but they're saying reasons in nature how it could have happened.
How all those things could have happened?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
But that's questioning the
But that doesn't
openness.
say-
That's questioning the openness of the miracle.
Right.
No, it actually is.
Because behind that, somehow the wind had to go with the right spot in the right.
No, but
at the right time.
if those people-
Where did that come from?
That's right. It's the timing. It's not the
Right.
the miracle is proven in that situation by the timing of it happening. That there are earthquakes that happen.
Well,
there are different things that are perceived as miracles. The miracles that appear through time.
So these were preordained? What, they say Moshe knew the signs? What do they say?
Yeah, they were preordained, and also the timing of when they happened. The Moshe Rabbeinu could say, and tomorrow it's frogs. You know, weatherman can't tell you when it's going to snow. He can tell you when it's lice. You know, it's not just that there was a plague of lice. There are plagues of lice all the time.
No.
It happens. There are plagues
Not the
of lice.
same.
Not like this, but there are plagues of lice.
That's not the point.
Right. So this is a bigger version of the plague. The important thing about this is
a
Moshe
shinui in the
could say,
teva.
if this doesn't happen, then this will happen.
That's also
and
true.
It happens.
That's also true, but that's not the facts. This was each miracle itself was a shinui in the teva, was something that never happened outside of it, and showed itself a shinui.
But it was specifically a magnitude of something that had happened. It was a magnitude of something that happened.
The sea never split.
What?
The sea never split.
The sea split outside of Japan last week.
Not like that.
Absolutely, exactly like that.
No.
You could walk across the dry land when the tsunami went out. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to say, if you don't do this, then this will happen.
Okay, I'm telling you like this. I'm not an expert in this topic. I'm not a scientist, but I believe wholeheartedly that what you're saying is not correct. I think that the Yam Suf was done in a way that was never ever done. It's not the same as a tsunami. And had you been there at the time, this is what I'm telling you that I believe wholeheartedly. I don't want to, what's it called? Wholeheartedly, had you seen the Yam Suf split, there is no scientific or logical explanation. Yes, maybe nowadays they can come up with one because they were not there and we don't know what happened, and we could say whatever we want. Science says all kinds of things. Science also says that evolution happened. This is not a problem. I'm not saying that science is liars. I know I'm on kosher too, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we weren't there, and I don't know the science behind the Yam Suf. But I think that these are supposed to be open and clear miracles that are irrefutable, not only because of the timing.
They remove free will.
What?
They would remove free will.
Would they remove free will? 100%. That's what the Ramban's saying. Would they remove free will? No, we still have free will.
How can we have free will? If they're indisputable.
They pointed to Hashem. They said, this is our God. When Hashem gave us the Torah, they heard him talk. They still had free will. Right after that, they did the Egel Azav. Knowing that there's Hashem doesn't mean you don't have free will. People are very interesting beings that could convolute and mess up all kinds of things, even when they know it. That doesn't mean you don't have free will. But yes, there was an open revelation at the time of Har Sinai, and at the time of the Makkos, and at the time of Kriyas Yam Suf. There was an open revelation of Hashem. Ra Shifcha Yam, Mashaloi Ra Yecheskel Ben Buzi. Every single person by the Kriyas Yam Suf saw the open hand of Hashem, and they pointed to Hashem and they said, Zeh Keli Vanveo. This is our God, and we'll what's it called? They saw open hand of Hashem. It was not a tsunami that happened last week and just happened to be good timing. I don't think so. I don't know what the tsunami looked like.
The tsunami was in dry land.
I don't know. He's saying you could have walked it. I don't know.
Scientists could explain why they would take fruits out of it. It's very
not at the time.
People were able to take fruits out
At the time.
Yeah, going back 2,000 years, scientists could explain.
And 12 lines. Most Midrashim said that there were 12 lines, man, not just
there's
one.
all kinds of, and all the waters in the whole world split at the same time, even waters in cups. The moifsim that happened by the dam, that never happened. I don't think that's true. That I could drink a cup of blood, and you're drinking blood, and I'm drinking water, and I sell it to you, and it turns to water, it turns back to blood, and the whole Nile turned to blood. I don't think so. I don't think it's true. I don't think that scientists could explain it. Maybe now they could try to give explanations, but I think that those are considered open logical miracles. Maybe not every single one of them is open logical miracles.
The snake, and it didn't work. The miracle wasn't.
What they did with the snake was also a miracle, but that was an ice. That was a little different. That wasn't a shinui. That was on a more...
No, but they tried to explain it, that we do the
100%.
same thing. Yeah, so what happened?
Anyways, I'm telling you the facts based on the Ramban, based on what I think I know to be true, is that what we believe is that there was things that happened that cannot be explained by science. Open, clear revelations, and that's what the Ramban is saying, and that can be the source of your Amunah. Not it can be. It must be the source of your Amunah. And what we're going to say is that that's one of the purposes of the Seder night. We'll go through it a little bit. We'll see that's why we have a Seder night. And that's why we tell it over to our children. And that's why we have so many mitzvahs about it. It started off, you know why we have so many mitzvahs? Because we're going to see in a second, because to strengthen our Amunah in Hashem, to continue to do it, we continue to strengthen our Amunah. Every time we do it, we're saying out to the world that Hashem created the world, Hashem runs the world, Hashem has the ability to change the world, and we know it because one time in the world He did it. That's what the Ramban says. And I don't think it's only because it was preordained timing. The thing itself was also a miracle. And that's why the pasuk says by the Mosim, Laman Teda, you should know through the Mosim, right? I'm not sure how this fits with Kiva Tats, but it's Mefurish. Laman Teda, I'm doing the Mosim, Laman Teda, so you should know, Ki ani Hashem b'kerev haaretz, I am Hashem, and I get involved, b'kerev haaretz. I get involved with what's going on down there. L'hoyres al hashgacha, to show you on the involvement. Ki lo yazav Yisrael mikra gimdad. They didn't leave the world like they say, but I get involved. Amar laman teda ki Hashem haaretz. You should know that I created the world. Other miracles. L'hoyres al chiddush. I have bailus. I have control. It's mine. Kehem shalosh shabar ma'ayin. He created them. V'amar. And the third level. Bavor teda kein kamoinim b'chol. I have the ability. L'hoyres al yicholis. Shu shal b'kol. He rules over everything. Nothing holds him back. All these things Mitzrayim denied or weren't sure about. You ready for this? First, look inside. I don't want you to say I'm making this up. These signs and these great wonders are the greatest witnesses on the belief in the Creator and in the entire Torah. The signs, that is the biggest belief. If you want to know how do you believe in the Torah, because once upon a time, Hashem made a Kriyas Yamsuf. Hashem made a Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's why we believe. And so the Ramban.
And he told us he was doing that.
And he told us before. That's all part of it. 100%. Now, what does that have to do with me? Because Hashem's not going to go and make a sign and a wonder for every single generation. Every guy, every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants a wonder. Hashem's going to go, okay, you ready? Lightning, you ready? Boom. He's not going to do that. He can't go every second. Yitzava, he did it once, and then Yitzava, he commanded us, we should always remember it. Always. A whole day, a whole year, a whole life. Remember what Hashem did by Yitzias Mitzrayim. Teach it to your children. And your children teach it to their children. Keep teaching it, keep remembering it, keep teaching it. This is the Yisod Emunah. This is the foundation of all Emunah, is Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's why it's so chomer. That's why you get cursed for eating chametz, for not drinking the Pesach. Why curse? Why so chomer? Right? You get cursed because you're cut off. If you're going to go against Pesach, you're cut off. That's the way to write it all down. Put it on our hands and on our tefillin. Always walk around. What do we walk around with? It's just Mitzrayim. Put it on the doorposts. We should mention in the morning and at night. Constantly, at night, every time we walk out of the house, on our hands. The Gemara Bracha says that Emes Yatzav is Deraisa, because you're mentioning Yitzias Mitzrayim. Kol Yemei Chayecha, all the days of your life, you have to remember Yitzias Mitzrayim. So the Ramban, you know why? Because Yitzias Mitzrayim is the Yesod HaEmunah. It's Eidim Ne'emanim B'Boirei Ha'olam U'V'Torah Kula.
So do we base the all Emunah on Anes and not in belief?
Yes, no, fakat. We base our Emunah on knowledge and not on, I don't know what you're saying, belief. I don't know what that is.
No, I believe in Hashem because
What does that mean?
You tell me He's existing, I believe. No, it means
Who's
I don't
telling
believe
you?
like this. I believe because I saw a miracle.
That's what he says.
Yeah, so since the Mishnah said that's I have to believe.
What does it mean you have to believe? What does that mean?
That I believe because it's a miracle, not because I believe that He's.
I didn't see the miracle. I mean,
Okay, this everyone can say. You tell me a story for 2,000 years ago. I don't know.
that's right.
You're asking different questions here. One second.
No, this is a different one.
Back to Project Inspire.
No, these are good questions. These are good questions. We could talk about all of them, but just keep them clear. What do you want to know? You rather if you just believe because I believe? Because what?
Somebody says to you, this is your father, you believe it's your father, or not, he has to prove it with a miracle to prove you that he's your father.
Who said it?
Whoever.
Okay, but Hashem did it. I don't know if he had to do it. He did it. He's there. Why shouldn't you?
I believe in Hashem, but not believe because he made a miracle. And if you say Hashem is...
It's not because he made a miracle, because you know there's Hashem. Because we saw with our own eyes Hashem. We know Hashem exists. Now you're asking a different question.
No, I'm just sort of following.
No, your
little
question's
bit
a
on
good
that.
question. Your question's a very valid question. We didn't see, they saw. So that's what the Ramban's saying. That's why Hashem was so machmir, and it worked. He told them to tell their children, to tell their children, to tell their children, and it's passed on generation after generation. At what point in time do you think it was made up? I can tell you this much. It definitely wasn't made up before the Gemara, before the story where they translated the Torah, right? So we definitely know that about 2,000 years ago, I don't know exactly, give or take 1,000 years or so. When was it?
Dead on accurate.
How long ago?
It's 26.
Maybe 2,600 years ago, they translated the Torah into 70 people translated into Greek, right? So at that point, there wasn't, since then it hasn't been made up. There wasn't, how do you know anything is true? How do you know George Washington
For instance, we talk about the Holocaust. We saw it in our life and in my life, and people say,
I
no,
know
it
the
never
Holocaust
happened.
is true, because everybody
No,
saw it, the
like-
whole world saw it, we all saw it.
And there are
No,
people
but what
that say no.
happened a few hundred,
In a few hundred years ago, if
1,000
everybody
years.
keeps telling their children, and their children tell their children, and it's documented in books, and there's video, I mean, it's all over the place, it's clear.
Okay, there you got videos and this and that. That's something we don't have from then, yeah.
Yeah, but we have ADIS.
But you still have to believe in that. There still has to be some sort of belief.
What?
There still has to be a belief or
Yeah, that's
a trust or a...
Yes, but it's a logic. Now, that's why it says in the Torah like this. There's a shayla in the shayla. It says in the pasuk like this. Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. The first that says the Dibros, right? It's important. Maybe one of the most important pasukim in the whole Torah. What's the most important pasuk in the whole Torah? Bereshis bara Elokim. What? I don't know. There's a number of important ones. All of them. But Bereshis bara Elokim is Shemayim v'Saaretz. Yisod Emunah. Hashem created the world. Right? What's one of the next ones? Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. I am Hashem your God. The first one says the Dibros. Asher Yitzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. Who took you out of Mitzrayim? Fek the Kuzari. Fek the Rishonim. What's up is? I took you out of Mitzrayim. I'm Hashem. What's Hashem trying to say? I'm the God. I'm the master of the world. I'm the master of the world because I created the world. It's my world. Should say, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, asher barasi shamayim v'aretz. It's my world. I created this world. Why does it say, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, asher tzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim? One answer is, because we didn't see Hashem create the world. And that, my friend, would be called belief.
That's right, that's belief.
And that's why Hashem wrote, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha asher tzicha me'etzrayim. Who took you out of Mitzrayim? You saw with your own eyes.
last week.
Yeah. But he's talking to us
You
too.
saw it last week.
No, but it's talking to us with them forever, not just to them. It's talking to us too. You saw with your own eyes. We also saw. Our father saw. We saw. It was passed down. We saw. And that's one of the pshatim. Anoichi Hashem Elokecha asher tzicha me'etzrayim. I took you out of Mitzrayim, and therefore you saw with your own eyes. With your own eyes, you saw that I am the creator of Shemayim v'aretz. And instead of writing creator of Shemayim v'aretz, which would be belief, therefore he writes asher tzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim, because the Yitzias Mitzrayim is Eidim Ne'emanim Al Brias Ha'olam. How do we know Hashem created the world? Because we saw Yitzias Mitzrayim. If he runs the world, if he controls the world, if he can change the world, then he obviously created the world. If he's the boss over the world, then he created the world. And that's one of the reasons why it says, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha asher tzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. It took you out of Mitzrayim. Because you saw it with your own eyes. Now at the end of the Ramban, he says like this. From the open miracles, the last paragraph. From the open miracles on a Moed b'Nisim Nishtarim, he sees the hidden miracles, which is the foundation of the whole Torah. A person has no portion in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu until he believes everything is miracles. There's no nature. Ben barabim, whether it's barabim, ben biyachid. Elam yasa mitzvahs, if he does the mitzvahs, he'll get schar. Ben me'avar elam yichusu anshay. Hakol b'gzeiras elyoy. Everything is with a decree. There's no nature. How do we know that? From the open miracles, we see the hidden miracles. From Pesach, we see Purim. From the fact that we see the open miracles, from the fact that Hashem revealed Himself and showed us that He controls the Teva, and that He knows what's going on, that He created the Teva, from there we see that even the Teva is miracles. And Ein La'adam Chelek B'Toras Moshe Rabbeinu. You have no Chelek in the Torah if you think that something that happens to you just happens. Until you know, until you believe, and you know that everything is nes. There's no nature and there's no minhag shalom whatsoever. Powerful statement. But ein la'adam chelek b'Toras Moshe Rabbeinu. There's no nature. Nature doesn't get involved with the Yidden. Jews are above nature. There's no luck. There's no nature. There's no coincidence. There's no just happened.
But it does happen to others? Like,
well, according to this, not.
Do they interpret
No,
the
why
same
not?
thing?
Can happen to others. It's also by Hashem.
Can it happen to others?
no, because you seem to separate Jews and non-Jews here.
Because that's what Rashi used to say. I'm not sure where he gets that from.
Yeah, that's
Shkoyach.